post I wrote about direct head contact in 2015. I found one we wrote in 2014 about the obstruction issues that we were starting to get, and it's genuinely not changed. I think we've had a bit more clarity on what they're looking for, but I think the clarity on what they're looking for has taught defenders how to con penalties.
I think that is the thing, and it's horrible, isn't it, when you see, a defender throwing himself on the floor. It's just not what you want to see.
No, exactly.
To try and milk a penalty.
And it's this win at all costs kind of mentality that we know why it's there, because everything it's a job to these people and stuff. But at the end of the day, I'd rather live in a world where we could pay someone the same amount of money if they got relegated, but we could enjoy the sport a lot more, and more people could be less baffled by decisions, and we could actually have some respect for some of the people that are playing it. Because I feel like with all the gamesmanship arguments, we might start losing that, and I hate to think that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think, because is it in rugby union where the question is asked, is there a reason I can't allow this try when they go to the big screen? Which actually, is there anything obvious that makes me say that this can't be allowed? There was a knock on over the line, or rather than going back to such specific incidents and. Can you check this, that, and the other?
Yeah, but even when we do that, they check everything else anyway. So, it's interesting, but the obstruction one is something that needs sorting out, and I think the sorting out isn't defining the rule necessarily. It's understanding the way it should be, the way it's intended to be interpreted. And giving
it's more the spirit of it than the letter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, potentially, which makes it harder and harder for referees and lawmakers, and that it is a shame. But maybe if we just don't have a go at them then we can kind of like let that move forward. Oh, is that your doorbell?
It is. Yep.
Okay. So the doorbell conveniently brings to an end the obstruction part of the conversation about what was supposed to be us talking about Castleford and Wakefield. So maybe we should talk about the actual game itself. It appears that Wakefield really couldn't do anything with the ball, and Castleford were able to take a little bit better advantage of their opportunities. The scoreline padded out with a late sort of pick up from a loose ball that extended it out, but Castleford really pretty much always in control on the scoreboard, other than the fact that obstruction decision could have changed things.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think because the first 6 points that Castleford got were all penalties that they kicked, but to be honest, I didn't feel it was a very interesting match. It was quite a dull match. Castleford, I think, should have been far further ahead given the amount of possession that they had.
That's what happens when you kick goals instead of try and score.
Well, I suppose so, yeah, because it could have been like 18 points rather than 6 points.
Was it bad conditions? Was it particularly
No,
sloppy conditions?
Well, the commentators said it was a bit, the corner that had been absolutely flooded where Charnley did his water dive.
Yeah.
They said that was still quite heavy and the ball was holding up a bit, but it was better conditions than we've seen at Weldon Road for quite a while.
I think there was given that there wasn't much great attack, obviously defences must have been working hard. Does that explain why there was some soft tries scored around the ruck?
I don't know. I mean, Wakefield did lose Chris Anakin very early on.
Yeah, he didn't have any carries in the game on the stats, so I assume he must have gone off early.
I missed the injury. I think I was putting a child to bed at that point. So that had been probably about 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
Or within that. And then the next time I saw him, he was on crutches. So, from very early on, there'd have been an interchange down.
It's another player with no luck, really, isn't it?
Yeah, he does seem to be perpetually injured, doesn't he?
First half of last season, just scratched himself back into the side and is out again.
Yeah. So and
there was
seems to be a lack of creativity.
There was the nasty cut on the head of Webster, weren't there? So that kind of meant that basically it was back rowers in the centres all around for Cass.
Yeah.
And Luke Gale went off for the second half. Did that make a difference on any kind of attractive creativity taking place, do you think?
It probably did, although I struggle to say that the first half was particularly attractive and creative, even with him on.
Do you think they said he was carrying a knock into the game? Even when he took some of those penalty kicks in the first half, he didn't look fluid in his kicking motion, and
No.
Ellis took over the kicking at some point during that first half, didn't he? So
yeah, because they said that he had banged his knee at some point during the first half, so I don't know if that added to whatever was wrong with him before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think it was a fair result in the end, or do you think Wakefield were badly done to?
That's a tough one. I think Wakefield were badly done to on the obstruction rule, and it would have been interesting, had they got that, how would they have responded? Would they have gone on to score a couple more? Would it have become a tighter match? But to be honest, I think possibly 24-4 was a fair reflection.
Well, onto the stats. The numbers do say Cass were worthy of the win, really. 3 fewer penalties conceded by them, 7-10. Half as many errors, 7-14. 2 more breaks and 425 more metres, 1.3 metres per carry better average game. Wakey made under 900 metres. So, to me, it sounds like Wakey got in their own way as much as anything else at all on that one. Individually, Liam Watts keeps going impressively for Castleford. He's probably playing better for Castleford than he did for Hull this season. 186 metres for him. Mike McMeekin, 160 metres.
He's giving away less penalties.
Well, he's not been banned yet, has he?
No, he's not.
Mike McMeekin, 160 metres. Jesse Senni-Lafayette back in the side, 123.
He played well, actually.
Metres, and Junior Moore's also back in, 123 metres. So those two guys have, I think, both have played last week as well. But that's good for them that they're getting some of them big bodies back. And like you say, Senni-Lafayette sounds like he was important in that. Liam Watts had some interesting comments that kind of rubbed the Hull fans up the wrong way unintentionally, I think, didn't he, about the support he's getting from the fans?
Yeah, I see I think he was saying it's nice to play for the team my family and friends support.
Yeah.
But the way it was phrased didn't quite come across like that. It sounded more like it's nice to play somewhere that I'm getting some support.
Yeah.
Which actually a lot of people would say how biased Hull fans were towards him.
I know, exactly. It's unbelievable.
So yeah, and to make those like a week before you're going back to play, it's not the smartest move, really, is it?
No, I mean, I thought he might have got wound up in the game against us because I thought we'd send Bateman right at him to do that, but Bateman ended up playing the centres. It'll be interesting to see how he manages his emotions next
Yeah, because I suspect Jake Connor might go and have a chat with him next week.
Jake Connor doesn't care who it is he's playing, he's having a chat, isn't he? We'll get on to Jake Connor in a minute.
Yeah, but I suspect he might have a few extra words for Liam Watts.
Okay, for the Wakefield side, Anthony England worked hard, 44 tackles, 11 of which were marker tackles, so big work from a big man there. And Matty Ashurst, 54 tackles, again 11 of those were marker tackles and no missed tackles from Matty Ashurst, so a clean defensive effort from him there. Okay, Saturday's game, and I'm gearing myself up, Sarah. I was close on this one last week. I thought it would be a 1-point game, and if I'd have known Mark Snide wasn't playing, I might have picked the drop goal going the other way. It did finish 25-24 to the Catalan Dragons against your Hull FC. 8,823 in attendance, a good Hull FC contingent. You guys travel extraordinarily well everywhere. James Child was the referee. It was 14-8 at half-time to Hull FC, but Catalan were able to turn it around in the second half. Do you want to start with the fan reviews before we get on to a Scoots rant, I think?
So Carsten says, a game that had it all, big lapses in defence, horrible injuries, 2 idiots in the bin and a drop goal at the end. A big win for Catalans and good debut for Drinkwater, but has Hull FC some halves left? Got Kelly what he earned? Can McNamara coach now? This obstruction rule is a disgrace, and now back in the studio to ranting Scoots.
Well, we'll start with we'll move on to one of Scoots' children rather than Scoots' rant herself at this stage. Anna got in touch to say, I think we can play better next time with no injuries. The referee was not good.
Yep. And then Snaker, who is actually Luke, said the players did not reach their full potential, but I think the referee was definitely biased to Catalans. Overall, I think we played well, but Catalans were quite dirty.
So Snaker, that's a different way to spell Luke. Do you want to explain the nickname that he's given himself?
He's desperate for a pet snake.
Right, that's pretty straightforward as explanations go as it comes. Okay.
Yeah.
Malkarma Tios says, Kit Karma should have punched him harder for wearing those sad shirts. Ooh, peace, man. Mad Max been eating too much red meat from Bernie Gauch's meat trays. Should be set on the couch and kill him. They should be set on the couch and kill him during a full moon.
Isn't that meant to be ow, ow, ow?
Ah, there
like
you
a
go.
werewolf.
Okay, but they don't. But Bernie Gauch doesn't serve. I don't think he does. Well, do you know what? Malcolm Matias has blown my mind with that review. Let's just move on to Alan's.
Alan Walker says, maybe a corner turned or maybe just a poor Hull side. Either way, I still reckon now's a perfect time for Bernie G to pick up the phone and call Stupid Kirch Steves for a #slaughter visit. Do it and do it now.
Yeah, still, even despite the win, the slaughterhouse visit getting called for. But Phil Naden, Joshua's granddad. Oh, wait, do you want me to do Phil's and you do your dad's?
Go on, you do Phil. All right then.
Phil says, what a load of shit. FC won fuck all. Will win fuck all playing like that. Was a fucking shocking performance of shitty rugby. And to top it off, Abdul has broken his leg by a French-loving twat. At least now I'm going to save a shitload of money on travelling to finals.
He doesn't hold back, does he, Phil?
Not this week. No. Do you want to do your dad?
Joshua's granddad. Yeah, he says, Le Merde behind the 8 ball with injuries, but once more we managed to slip into the mistake of playing the Catalan niggle instead of concentrating on our rugby. Poor control and soft penalties cost us the game. Switching Griffin to the second row seems to affect his performance. Apart from Taylor, go forward on collision lacking.
Okay, Paul Chamberlain said, Des O'Connor... This is, by the way, my favourite review of this week.
It's a great review.
Des O'Connor, Gene Kelly and Paula Abdul would have been more use. Good to finally see Maludi. Looks a real talent. It's a shame that he is another player that Catalans have let go when their own squad looks so threadbare. I don't actually think Maludi was ever with Catalan. I think he came through at Carcassonne. No. But yeah, he's a player from the French, systems that they haven't spotted. That's fair to say. Okay, do you want to finish with Rich?
Yeah, Rich Langley says, those who live by the drop girl die by the drop girl. Injury crisis aside, Hull need to learn to hold on to leads once they get them, especially against the alleged lower sides. Right,
so we'll start where we finished then. And I will say to Rich that I'm going to genuinely give him what is due here, and there is an actual injury crisis. It's not like you've just lost like 1 or 2 players that you haven't bothered to build a squad to replicate and replace like last year. It's actually you've lost all of your halves and all of your people who can play halves apart from Jake Connor, it seems like, and no wonder you went so easy on the abusive tirade that Albert Kelly came out with in a McDonald's last weekend when you've got no halves. I mean, I'm not saying it's the right way to run things necessarily from a disciplinary point of view, and maybe it doesn't set the right attitudes in place, dragging a senior player over the hot coals for embarrassing himself publicly and the club publicly like what he did. But you certainly needed him to play in this game with... was Mark Snyde ill? Am I right?
He has a problem with his sinuses and wasn't allowed to fly.
Wow. Okay. And obviously Jamie Shaw, he was out for some reason that I'm not sure of. They said personal reasons on the...
Yeah, the talk is that there had been a family bereavement.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That's really sad. And then you obviously were struggling. Abdul broke his leg during the game. I mean, it was towards the end of the game, but it impacted your ability to compete at that stage when you were chasing things.
Yeah, and I mean, Abdul's kicking game is immense.
He's got a powerful boot, hasn't he?
So just how good his penalty kicks were to touch. made so much meters there. And I do think in Abdul, when we play him at loose forward, you know, he is your sort of a decent English loose forward rather than just your wrecking ball forward.
Yeah, he had that great performance against Leeds, wasn't it, when he came off the bench and almost turned that one around at Leeds.
Yeah.
And obviously,